Hello everyone and welcome to ITLS Academy Empower the Youth. So today in this lecture we will going to understand the nutritive value of cereal and starch gelatinization. So let's see the introduction part. So cereal or any type of a grass that yields the starchy seeds, they are suitable for food. Even most of the grains, they have a similar dietary properties, means they are rich in carbohydrates, but comparatively they are lesser in protein content. And if you see that they are even deficient in calcium and vitamin A. If we take an example of bread, so especially those bread that are made from the refined flours, they are enriched with different types of nutrient. Why? Just to compensate for any nutritional deficiency in the cereal based food product. So the cereal that are most commonly cultivated, they are wheat, they are rice, rye, oats, barley, corn and sorghum. So talking about the cereal, so let's take an example to understand. Means cereal has a very wide variety. As you can see, there are so many types of cereal that are available. Let's say wheat, barley, rye, rice, maize, oats and millets. So all these cereals, if we talk about wheat or any other cereals, they are rich in carbohydrates, but they lack in proteins, calcium and vitamin A. But they have a good amount of starch, or you can say they have a good amounts of carbohydrates. Okay, so taking an example of a wheat itself, if you consume a roti, okay, so it will give you more carbs as compared to proteins, because roti, it is made, it is a, you know that roti is from the wheat. ठीक है, comes from the wheat. So wheat में कौन सी प्रॉपर्टी, कौन सा न्यूट्रिशनल कंटेंट बहुत ज़्यादा है? वो है आपका कार्बोहाइड्रेट्स. बट जो व्हीट है वो लैक करता है इन प्रोटीन्स. Okay, so similar case is with barley, similar case is with rice, different types of oats, millets and rye. So nowadays, to compensate the deficiency of proteins or the deficiency of the different kinds of vitamin A or the deficiency of calcium, there are some cereal based product in which the nutritional, you can say, properties are added, okay, from outside, just to compensate the nutritional deficiency. Let's take an example of a bread. So in markets, if you go and explore the bread section, so in the bread section you can find the number of varieties of the bread. Okay, some of the breads are multi-grain, some of the breads are the brown bread, some are wheat based bread, some are the maida bread, some are they claims that yes, they have essential amounts of oats in it, so they are rich in oats. So depending on the types, the nutritional values may vary. Okay, if a bread that is a normal bread, or you can say the white maida one bread, has the nutritional value different as compared to a bread that has a multi-grain bread, that is a multi-grain bread. Okay, so depending upon the types of bread, the nutritional quality, properties or content gets changed. But again, bread eventually is rich in carbohydrates, means the major portion of nutrient that you consume from any kind of cereal, not talking about bread only, if you consume any kind of rice also, in the market there are so many different types of rices that are available. Okay, so every cereal has a more carbs as compared to the other nutrient. But yes, they have certain types of nutrient, they have a certain type of different kinds of nutrient, just to compensate any kind of deficiency. But again, it will only rich in but always they have a rich properties of carbohydrates in them. Okay, now what is a cereal? So if we talk about the definition part, so the cereal is any grass means that are cultivated, or you can say that are grown for the edible components of its grain. Okay, and botanically, if you say that cereal, it is a type of a fruit that is known as caryopsis, and it is a component of endosperm, germs, and bran. The term may also refer to the resulting grain itself, especially the cereal grain. So nowadays, as you see that now, since the population is expanding so fast and now everything is based digitally, you can explore different kinds of cereal or food items that are available in the market, and people are so much conscious about what they are eating. Depending upon their consciousness, they explore different kinds of cereal. If you see nowadays, there is a trend of using the ragi. Even the toddlers, the childrens, they are when they passes their 12 months, means after 1 year, doctor prescribed that you can give a diet to a toddler, that is a ragi based diet. There are different kinds of ragi based pancakes, different types of khichdis are available in the market that has a good content of ragi. So of course, ragi has so much of nutrient in it. They have a good amount of calcium, they have a good amounts of vitamins. So this ragi is very important for any person who wants to have a good diet. Okay, so ragi is a whole grain that is a gluten free. Of course, nowadays again there is a trend of a diet known as a gluten free diet. People's some people are allergic to gluten, so they take a gluten free diet. So ragi, if you take ragi, so it is a whole grain which is that is a gluten free, and they are very staple in South Indian, and even the South Indians loves ragi. And now it's not only the South Indians, but even the whole world's like ragi. It is a rich in and the main properties of ragi lies that it is rich in fibers. It also helps you to reduces the weight, and they are good for the diabetic person, and it is a packaged of, or you can say it is a hub of calcium. Even it contains a certain amounts of good carbs, and they are rich in amino acids, and they have a good amount content of vitamin D. So ragi as a whole grain, it that is a gluten free, it helps in the weight loss, even it helps a diabetic person, and it is a packaged of every kinds of good carbs, amino acid, and vitamin D. Now talking about the wheat, so wheat, since many ages people are using wheat cereal. Okay, so it is a grass, widely they are cultivated for its seeds, as you can see in the image also. And wheat, it is a kind of a cereal grain that is used worldwide, and it is one of the most staple food for even the Indians and abroad, and even across the globe. The many species of the wheat, together they are come make up a genus that is a trichums, and it is mostly grown, and it is mostly, you can say, mostly grown is commonly wheat. And wheat, it is one of the staple food for people across globe. Now maize again, it is very important type of a food, and it is rich in carbohydrate. And maize, it has a leafy, you can say, stalk. And you can take an example of a bhutta that we eat. So it is one of the, you can say, a type of a cereal that is known as a queen, because it has the highest genetic yield potential among all of the cereal family. So you can simply say maize, it is a queen of the cereals. Why? Because they yield the highest genetic potential among the every cereal. Now the pearl millets. So pearl millets, it is one of the type of a cereal that contains a very high energy, and it contains the carbohydrates, it contains protein, it contains fat, and it is rich in vitamin B and A, and it has a high amount of calcium in it. And apart from calcium, they are rich in iron, zinc, and also they have a potassium, phosphorus, magnesium, zinc, copper, and manganese. So pearl millets is the hub of many different types of you can say nutrient, and they are rich in every type of nutrient, whether it's a carbohydrate, but of course since it is a cereal, so of course they are rich in carbohydrates. But apart from carbohydrate, it has a good amount of protein, fat, different types of vitamin, that is A and B, and high in calcium, iron, even zinc. So a person who has a deficiency of zinc, so they can consume pearl millet, and it is widely used by people. So that is the type different types of cereal that is available in the market. And as you can see in this image, there is a cereal that is divided into wheat, oats, barley, sorghum. Sorghum is now becoming one of the most important cereal that peoples are using nowadays, and it is rich in different kinds of nutrients, especially in carbohydrates. They are rich in they have an antioxidant property in itself. They have a good amount of course already told you that carbs, they have a good amount of starch. They are the hubs or hub of good carbs, carbohydrates. So it is widely used by people across the globe. Now coming to the nutrition values of cereal, that is, I think it is a nutritive values of the cereal. So now talking about the nutritive values of cereals. So nutrition, as we all know, that the assimilation of different kinds of living organism of food for food material that enable them to grow, maintain themselves, and reproduce. So nutrition is somewhat very essential, and it is it is one of the integral part of a human body, because without nutrition your body cannot grow. Without nutrition you cannot maintain your body. Without nutrition you cannot reproduce. Even without nutrition you can fall ill. Means nutrition, it is again the hub. And different kinds of sorry there is different kinds of, there are six essential nutrients that are that should be available in your diet, so that you can have a proper growth and development of the body. So and we all know that from where this nutrition come from. So the nutrition comes from the food that we consume, the fruits and vegetables, the different kinds of product that we consume, means the food we consume. So the food, it serves multiple function in most of the living organism. We all know that without food no life on this earth is can exist. And for example, it provides the materials that are metabolized to supply energy, because human beings need energy to do work. Okay, and from where you get energy? Of course from the food that we consume. So it provides the material, and that are used for that are used to for the metabolized to supply energy, and it is very much required for the absorption, translocation of nutrient, for the synthesis of cell material, because our body is made up of cell, and cell required different kinds of nutrients. Okay, so for the movement and locomotion, for the excretion of waste product, for other activities of the organism. So you can see in this para I have told you that there, without food a human body cannot survive. Why? Because everything is related to food. Without food you can't get energy. Without food there could not be the absorption and translocation of nutrients. Without food the cell cannot synthesize. Without food no movement or locomotion can occur. Without food no excretion of waste product can occur, and not a single activity of an organism can be possible without food. Without food, or you can say with no food no life exists on this planet. And so in this way food is very important for a human if he or she wants to survive on this planet earth. Now comes to the nutritional patterns in the living world. So living organism, it can they are being characterized by the ways in which the functions of the food are carried out in their bodies. So organisms such as green plants and some bacteria that needs only inorganic compounds for the growth. So if we only told you about the humans, but if you take an examples of different kinds of green plants, if you take an example of a plants only, so plants also needs food for their proper growth and development. And from where they can get these nutrients? So of course they can get nutrient by manufactured their own food, like the that is known as photosynthesis. So every green plants synthesize their own food, that is known as photosynthesis, with the help of water, air, with the help of chlorophyll. Sunlight is very essential, and after the synthesis of food take place inside the plants, there is a xylem and phloem, that is known as a vascular bundles. So xylem, it conduct even the xylems and conducts the food and water across the plants. So they are the vessels, and that are very much useful for the transportation of food to the other parts of the plant that cannot manufacture the food. And in this way the plant manufacture their food and provides energy and provide, and in this way the growth of the plants take place. Take an example to understand that if you don't water a plant regularly, or if a plant needs sunlight, and if you keep that plant in somewhere in a dark area with no water, with no soil, with no you can say fertilizer, with no amount of water, then can you imagine a plant cannot survive. So of course the plant needs and the extra component, that is water, sunlight, soil, oil, air, and so for their proper growth and development. Even the different types of bacteria, they also need inorganic compounds for their growth, and they are known as autotrophic organism. We all know that auto means self, मतलब जो खुद से खाना बना सकते हैं. So all the animals, fungi, and most of the bacteria, so they all require the organic as well as inorganic bacteria, sorry, compounds for the growth, and they are known as heterotropic. So heterotropics and autotropics. So other classification, it has also been done, like the phototropics means there are organisms that needs light, and by trapping the light energy they convert that light energy into chemical energy. Okay, whereas there are organisms that is known as chemoautotropic or chemosynthetic organism. So what they do, they utilizes the inorganic or organic compound, and they supply their energy requirement. So another type of organism, if you talk about it, is a electron donor material utilization to form a reduced coenzyme consist of inorganic compounds. The organism is said to be lithotrophic if the organic organism is organotropic. So in this way different types of living organism is being divided according to what they need, means which type of food they need, which type of um, uh, component that is required for the synthesis of their food. So you can see that every living organism, not only humans but even the animals, even the plants, they all need food for their survival. So this is a nutritive values of cereal crop, as you can see. Wheat, if you take an example of a wheat, so wheat has the energy of 1420 kilocalorie per gram per 100 grams. Then if you take an rice, then of course every crop have different kinds of nutritive values, but the most is there in a sorghum, and the energy content of sorghum is 1455, whereas it is comparatively lower than wheat in terms of proteins, and lipids are rich, and sorghum, it is rich in lipids. That is the reason I told you that sorghum is one of the leading cereal crop that is available in the market, and that is being consumed by a majority of people. Now, talking about the potatoes, peas, and lettuce, then of course since the ages we know that potatoes are good in carbs, and but comparatively they are low in proteins and very low in lipids. Similar cases with peas also, they are good in carbs and they are again lesser in protein and lipids. Lettuce again, it is rich in energy and but lack in proteins and lipids. So that is the definition that we have discussed in the slide 1 in the introduction part, that cereals, they are rich in carbohydrate but they lack in proteins and vitamins. So what are the benefits of cereal? So there are different types of benefits of the cereal. There are some 7 benefits are I have noted down here. So, by consuming cereal, one can reduce the risk of cancer. Cereal is again a good source of energy because it has a high content of carbohydrates. Okay, they have the lower risk of mortality. They are rich in high mineral content. Even they prevent the constipation and colon disorder. They provide vitamins and protein to the body, but comparatively lesser than the carbohydrates. But they also helps in maintain blood sugar level. Okay, so these are the simple benefits of cereal. So means if there is a crop, so every crop have certain advantages and disadvantages. Some crops are rich in something, some crops are rich in something. So some crops they are deficient in something, and some crops are again they are deficient in something. So again, it is not the केस के सीरियल के पास सारे ही न्यूट्रिएंट आ जाए. ठीक है, हर एक क्रॉप का हर एक क्रॉप का एक अलग उसका न्यूट्रिटिव वैल्यूज़ होता है. कुछ क्रॉप किसी में रिच होते हैं और कुछ क्रॉप किसी में रिच होते हैं. Now, one of the most important topic of today's discussion is starch gelatinization. So, starch gelatinization again, it is a phenomena in which the starch granules, what they do, they primarily absorb the water. After absorbing the water, they get swell, and after getting swell, so there comes a time period where they eventually burst out. After bursting out, they burst in the form of a gel and in the presence of water and heat. So as you can see in this image, that gelatinization of starch, it is a method that required a starch, means any sucrose like cornstarch or a rice flour, etc. And in this way, what the starch granule does, so if they kept in the water, so they absorb the water. After absorbing the water, their size changes, means they become full of water, and what you say that they can get swell. At the time reach, they get burst, ये फट जाते हैं, and the starch what comes out after bursting the gel, and this took place in under the presence of water and heat. Now the definition of starch gelatinization. So definition of starch gelatinization, it is a process in which the solid starch granule, what the solid starch granule, they they get turned into gelated starch when they are dissolved in water. Okay, so of course heat is there. In the presence of heat, so what they do, the starch primarily gets swell as their intermolecular bonding between the starch molecules break. Why it breaks? Because of the high heat. Okay, means sometimes the temperature exceeds 50 degrees Celsius. So after exceeding the 50 degrees Celsius, it result in more water absorption. So at the time when it reaches 50 degrees Celsius or above, the starch granules they eventually get burst, and they start to leaching and crystalline in layers it forms a crystalline layer, means you can say gel, as the gelatinization yes sheets. Okay, so as you can see in this image, there is a heat starch granules in liquid. Then after that, the starch granule, what they do, as you can see, the size changes. Why the size changes? Because these starch granule, they absorb the water. After absorbing the water, they becomes very swell. After becoming swell, the starch granules, they continue to swell. जस्ट टेक एन एग्जाम्पल ऑफ अ बलून. आप बलून है उसको आप ब्लो करते रहो, एक ऐसा टाइम आता है कि बलून कैन नॉट रेजिस्ट उतनी एयर इनसाइड इट, एंड इट इवेंचुअली गेट बर्स्ट. वही केस स्टार्च ग्रेन्यूल के साथ हुआ कि उसको हीट भी दिया जा रहा है, और वो ऑलरेडी वाटर में है, तो जितनी उसकी कैपेसिटी थी उतना तो उसने स्वेल किया. बट एज due to the high temperature, or you can say due to high water pressure, and even the heat, the starch molecules, they eventually get rupture. After getting rupture, the liquid thickens, and there is a sheet, or you can say jelly gelatinous sheet is formed, and that is known as a gel. So this is what a starch gelatinization is. So in examination, this question comes in 5 marks question, and you have to explain the definition, even the processes, with the help of the diagram. That would be helpful for you. So that brings to the end of the lecture. As far as this lecture is concerned, so some important part is the serial, of course, in which from even in MCQs, the family can be asked, means cereal belongs to which family. There are different options. They can ask you in which nutrient the cereal is rich. So it is rich in carbohydrates. So, and of course, they can ask you about the ragi as well, means uh, what is ragi, in which nutrient ragi is rich. And they can ask you in MCQ's question about the queen of the cereal, that is maize. They can ask you in MCQ's question that name a cereal that has a high energy, so they are known as pearl millets. So in this way, there are different kinds of MCQ's question that can be asked in the interview. Even they can ask you the nutritive values of the cereal crop, so you have to learn this table to understand that. Few benefits of cereal can be asked, but yes, of course, one of the most important question that will comes in the exam is a starch gelatinization. So this is the definition, and this is the process. So that brings to the end of the lecture. I hope you have understood the lecture. But again, if you have any doubt, any queries related to the lecture, so you can simply leave the queries in the comment section below. Follow ITLS Academy on different portal. Subscribe ITLS Academy and visit our website, that is www.itlsacademy.com. This is our helpline number, that is 70808 33450. So if you have any query, or so you can simply call on this number. Even this is our WhatsApp number also. So thank you for watching. Please do like, share and subscribe. Thank you.